Hello, I'm Tom Daly with the Knapp & Gold Manufacturing Company of Grand Rapids, Michigan. We're here today to show you the easy way, the accurate way to install a set of KV MuV undermount concealed soft close drawer slides into a dovetail drawer. A couple things you're going to be needing. First of all, a dovetail drawer, properly prepared, a pair of KV MuV drawer slides, some front clips, and some rear mounting brackets. You have all that, we're in good shape. Come on over and I'll show you some of the tools we're actually going to use to do the installation. In our last video we showed you how to install ball bearing drawer slides into an existing kitchen cabinet. Today we're going to show you how to install the MuV undermount soft close drawer slide into an existing kitchen cabinet as well. And many of the processes are virtually identical. What you're going to be using. First you're going to be using is a pair of MuV undermount drawer slides. The next thing you're going to be using, as we've used in the past, the old carpenter's trick of 2 pieces of wood to measure our dimension. We'll put that aside for right now. A piece of wood, be it if you have a piece of plywood or a piece of 1x4 for your back nailer strip, your choice. A piece of 1x3, 1x4 is maximum out there. A pair of C-clamps. I prefer a steel rule versus having a flexible tape, only because I get a better read on the ruler and it's more accurate for me. A square. Levels. You can use either a torpedo level or what I've become very comfortable using is a pocket level. These are very accurate, very simple to use, and get you into that tight spot of a small cabinet. Put that aside. You need to have your 2 rear mounting brackets for the MuV slide. You're going to have a pair of front clips. There's a right and a left hand on this. You're going to need to have an electric drill, a pilot drill, screws, and a screwdriver. You add those products together with a drawer and a properly prepared drawer, and we're going to make this installation quick and simple for you. Let's show you how. As we found on the ball bearing drawer slide, installation of the rear mounting brackets for the undermount drawer slide is also a critical step in the process of doing it right the first time. Getting into the back of the cabinet in an existing cabinet with a countertop is not always easy. It's very inaccessible. So we're going to use, again, an old carpenter's trick to give us the inside dimension. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 strips of wood, lay them inside the cabinet, inside the opening, so they're right up against the frame. I'm sure that I'm not touching a glue or a staple inside. And I'm going to tighten this down now with one of the C-clamps, and you'll see that that's the exact inside dimension of the inside of the cabinet. I'm then going to take a pen or a sharp pencil. I'm going to mark one side. I'm going to come over and mark the other side. Now I know what the cabinet opening is. Now that we've made our inside wood jig, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be transposing this to a piece of 1x3 that will become the rear nailer for the back of the cabinet, to which we're going to be fastening the rear mounting brackets. I'm going to take my little jig that we just made and we're going to locate it flush with the edge of the piece of wood here. Come down to the opposite end and make a small line there. That now tells us where to mark. We take our wood square, we come back, we draw a nice fine line. This now represents the inside dimension of the cabinet. We're going to come back to our hand jig here for a second, and what we're going to be doing, we lay this back on our rear nailer and we see 2 other lines. We see this line right there and we see this line right there. We take our square again, and these lines become fairly important to us because this now indicates where the cabinet frame lines up to the back of the cabinet. The task at hand now is to install the rear mounting brackets onto the rear nailer. And we're going to be tempted to do this, line it right up on the line. That's incorrect. You'll notice on this drawer slide here that I have, this side of steel lines up perfectly with the inside edge of the cabinet face frame. However, the rear mounting bracket has a different line. We have to account for 7/16 of an inch. 7/16 of an inch from where our cabinet line is going to be here towards the outside edge of the rear nailer on both sides, 7/16 of an inch. So what we just said is that if you put the rear mounting brackets flush to the bottom and flush to the line that represents the inside edge of the face frame. That's not correct. So what we've done is we've just taken our rule and marked over 7/16 of an inch from here to there. We did the same thing on this edge towards the outside, 7/16 of an inch. And what we're going to do again is we're going to draw one line, two lines, and while we're here I'm going to take a shortcut. I'm going to draw a line right smack in the center of the nailer, and I'll use that in a minute. So what we've done now is we've taken our rear nailer strip, we've cut off the unneeded piece that we had before. The rear nailer strip now represents the exact inside dimension of the cabinet, side to side. You'll notice that we've installed the rear mounting brackets on the outside line, which is 7/16 off of the marked line representing the cabinet opening in there. So now the brackets would be, if I put the slide in here, goes in, you'll notice that the slide is now directly on the line for the cabinet opening. So the back of the cabinet and the front of the cabinet are on the same line. Now follow me over here for one more little dimension that we're going to be taking. And that is, where do we locate this rear bracket in the back of the cabinet? There's a couple of tricks we've learned here. I'm going to take one of my carpenter jig pieces of wood. I'm going to lay it inside the cabinet where I'm going to be touching the bottom side of the cabinet. Bottom side of the countertop. I then come along and I'm going to make a square line once again. Come back, make that line a little more visible here with my square, get a nice square line. And what we're going to find is that the top edge of the cabinet, right here, this surface right there, is exactly 6 inches down from the top of the cabinet. So the bottom of the cabinet nailer strip, this line here, will be 6 inches down from the top of the inside of the cabinet. That's where this gets located. Now before I showed you that I drew a line in the center of the nailer strip, this screw right here will be the only screw I'll install to begin with. When that's installed into the back of the cabinet, and this is on the back of the cabinet, what this allows me to do is align the back of the cabinet to get it nice and level when I put my level on top. So what we're going to do now is install the drawer slide on the drawer. When you receive the drawer manufacturer will be having pre-prepped the drawer. They'll be making the notch in the back and they'll be pre-drilling this hole. These are both important and they're also both critical dimensions. The reason being is if you haven't installed an undermount slide in the past, you'll notice that there's a bayonet here on the bottom side of the slide. The bayonet actually engages in that hole like so and keeps the drawer slide permanently attached to the drawer. It's a nice tight fit when done properly. If that hole is too large, then the slide can slop around a little bit. You don't want that. If this notch is too small, the slide won't fit in it. If it's too large, that's not a problem because the bayonet's holding it in the back side and the side of the cabinet is actually locking it in this way. So it's not going to go either way. The next part of our process right now, though, is to install the front clips that we talked about before. These come in a package of two. There's a right hand and there's a left hand bracket with it. This little red clip here is a vertical adjustment slide. So if you need to make the slide, the drawer head properly aligned with a drawer to the side, you can just move that up and back. So the task now is to put the two clips on, the right hand, the left hand clip. You'll notice that these are two pre-drilled holes. They are done at an angle. If the screws go in horizontally or perpendicular to the edge here, you run the risk of splitting out the wood. You don't want to do that. But take your screw, put it into the bracket, tighten it down right in the corner. That's the exact place where you want it to be. Tighten it down. I'm using a wood screwdriver. If you're using a power driver, should not be a problem as well. Tighten it down. And this is the only work you need to do on prepping the drawer. When the drawer comes from your vendor, the notches will be in the back side, the hole will be pre-drilled, and the 2 alignment screws in the front should be done. So one of the final tasks now will be actually to install the drawer into the cabinet. For sake of convenience and opportunity to illustrate what we're trying to do here, we're going to use a demo that happens to be a frameless demo. The frameless demo is where the slide attaches directly to the side of the cabinet. No rear brackets are necessary. But what this is also going to show you is that you can attach it to the back, to the center, and to the front edge. There are slots, vertical slots, horizontal slots in the back of the drawer slide to give you the opportunity to get vertical adjustment or in and out adjustment if you need to get that fine of an adjustment in there. One of the elements that we also want to point out to you is that the soft close mechanism for KV is removable. It's intended to be removed. The reason you'd want to remove it is if you're going to be doing a lot of heavy debris construction, countertops, be they plywood cutting or granite. What you don't want to do is you don't want to get these mechanisms clogged up with sawdust if you don't have to. So these are removable, easily removed, easily put back in again. For sake of illustration, what we're going to do now is we're going to install the drawer into the cabinet. And you'll see that the cabinet slides themselves have bayonets. Those bayonets engage into the back side of the cabinet drawer itself. To put this in, I'm going to come around this way, close the slides, take my drawer, push my drawer in, and it will come back. And if you heard that lock, that tells you it's completely locked in place. Now the drawer is fully engaged here, it's fully engaged there. Perfect mechanism. To remove the drawer, those front clips we showed you on the back side, this clip right here, when you pull this thing like so, it releases the drawer slide. So I'm going to come around here and I'm going to release the drawer on one side, release it on the other, and the drawer will come right out. In addition to how the rear mounting brackets get installed into the cabinet, there's only one other dimension that I want to point out to you, and that is that with the undermount drawer slide, the MuV program, the drawer slide itself is entirely dependent upon the length of the drawer. In this case, it's an 18-inch drawer, and we're using 18-inch drawer slides. There are 20s, there are 22s that are available. We have a full range of sizes from 9 inches up to 22 inch on our standard slide, and on our heavy duty slide it goes all the way up to 36-inch lengths. So what you're going to be doing now as you start your installation, remember the drawer is going to come to you pre-notched and pre-drilled, so you're not going to have a lot of problem there. 4 screws put the front clips in. You're going to make your rear mounting bracket so that the brackets are horizontal and parallel to the front. This is kind of a rear jig that we make up here, fits right inside the cabinet. It can't go right or left out of alignment. The center screw allows you to teeter-totter this until you can get to the point where it's perfectly level. Aside from that, your installation should go fairly quickly, should be problem-free. We're going to wish you the best from Grand Rapids and Tom Daly. Thank you. Have a good installation.